hello everybody, I wanted to create a small screen recording of my hackathon product so you can rewatch it, and I also will go in a little bit more detail on what I've done. So what I've done for the hackathon is something that connects customer success with sales, because clients and prospects are asking for one specific requirement all the time, which is personalization. How would it work in Content.ai, and how can we implement this? And of course, we have documentation about this and we have some answering, but we still are sometimes struggling with this. And of course, this is the standard answer. So Content.ai delivers content to your omni channels, and basically you can filter. This is in Dutch, but you can filter based on the taxonomy tagging, for example, and you can use the taxonomy and tagging for HubSpot and personalization. I've even created a small demonstration of this. So here I have a product, and I have tagged the content with the AI agent. So if I navigate, and what I've done, I've created a front end that stores the interest of the tagging. So for example, these taggings in a cookie, so that it will follow my interest, and how much more I navigate, how much more interest it will track. And then on the front end, on the homepage, it will push a service based on the same tagging, so that you can then show that. And I've even here in debug, so you can see, hey, I have the most interest in artificial intelligence. But this was quite a simple example, and I wanted to go a step further. So for that reason, and why I want to go a step further is that because you have a lot of content and basically you don't know how to categorize. That's the biggest problem for clients, but also for prospects. They have a lot of content, they want to import it, but they don't know for who the content is interesting and how they want to start and how they need to organize this. So, and I also wanted to try out with this hackathon to see how we can do personalization with the current tool set that we have in Content.ai. So I don't want to look in the future state, but I want to look in the current state of what we have and what we can do with the Agentic CMS in combination with the content. And I want to also do the whole story. So from user data from a CRM or a CDP or maybe Google Analytics, analyze that content, then use the content from Content.ai and then personalize on the front end. So this is basically what I've done. You can select your data source of your choice. So that can be in database, can be in an Excel, can be in CRM, can be in endpoint and API, doesn't matter. AI will read the content and then is able to extract the interest. So it can extract personas, it can extract geolocation, it can maybe even tagging interest of the people. Then what I'm doing is creating spaces in Content.ai based on the personas that is created. I do that for the preview. I will show you how what the reason is behind it. Then I create a taxonomy group with the personas, and I do that in a snippet. I add also that snippet to the content types. And then, of course, you tag the content with the interest. So how we do that, let me go back. I've done this in Retool, and this is the whole workflow. And let me also show it a little bit in more detail. So there's a trigger. The trigger can be triggered by a webhook. I have even here a Postman example where you can then say, hey, it's for this environment. We want to tag personas. We want to add the content tagging to these content types and want to add the taxonomy to this content type. Then it will retrieve the data. In this case, it will call an endpoint in the URL. It's even this endpoint. So this has 500 users from a CRM system or whatever that's needed. Then AI agent will read the content, and based on the user data, it will create 5 personas, up to 5 personas. You can add more data based on what your preferences are. And then there's some polling for the AI agent to see if it's still working. Then it extracts the personas, creates the taxonomy in Content.ai, and then it creates personalized content based on the taxonomy. And that's it, yeah. And how it then will the result is, so you can trigger it through a webhook. The nice thing of that is that you could even add a custom app. I've created a custom app where I then can say, hey, I want to trigger the webhook. I want to get the user data from this endpoint. I want to extract personas, geographic locations from the user data. I want to add the taxonomy to these content types, and I want to tag also the content. You could add more options if you want. Of course, you need to change the workflow in Retool itself. And then you can trigger it. I will not run it because it costs each time that you trigger the workflow money because of the AI agents. But this has already have run the AI agent. And what it has done, it first will create spaces. I'm not doing this with the AI agent. I do this with the management API. And for each persona, because it extracts 5 personas, it creates a new space. Here I have the old situation where I can go to the production, and then you will see that it has only one space, the non-personalized one, and based on the personas, it will create multiple spaces. We do that because we have control over creating basically multiple previews for personas. Also, it will create the taxonomy, of course. So the taxonomy, now it created personas with also, and then it will create a content type snippet with personalization. I also have added to the personalization a guideline, so it will show you, hey, what are the personas, and it have added to the content types. I also have asked to add it in a content group, so it's are nicely divided. So it's added to a content group. So when I go to the content itself, and I open, for example, an article, and I go to the personalization, you see it has tagged it automatically with 2 personas, and here there's the description. And how you could preview the content now, if I go to the landing page, on the landing page I've added a couple of call to actions, a couple of banners, and if you preview the content for the non-personalized one, it will show no banner. I'll show a couple of banners, but not a personalized one. So here you see our team. But if I switch, for example, to the innovative tech leaders, it will have an innovative tech leader banner specific only for that persona. Or if I go to creative professionals, and what it does is it changes the URL, and of course on the front end, then you can change the preview based on the persona, save that in a cookie. So that's what I wanted to do with the hackathon. I love doing it because it was my first time programming with AI and working with Retool, and I think this is really a good way of working with personalization. And basically, you can do in one click the whole your whole presentation. So if I go also back, and so in one click, you can analyze the content, add the tagging, and also tag the content directly. And of course, it takes a little bit of time, and the AI agent will cost a little bit of money, but it's worth the money and worth the effort. And also with the preview of the spaces, it's also nice because then you can also see how the content will appear for different audiences. And now Sarah is happy. She doesn't need to shout anymore with unorganized content. The content is automatically organized, and she has now personalization. Now, thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me.